Hey everybody, welcome to Mobile Images Red. I'm Mike, also known as Mystery Oceans, and Mobile Images Red on Twitter.
I'm Alan, also known as Saint Alan James on Instagram.
Yeah, we wanted to come at you guys and give you basically, we're fresh out of the theater for Infinity War, not Infinity War, Endgame,
Endgame.
and we just wanted to give our opinion, try to put all our thoughts, and just for a very fresh, and it was like it's kind of an overwhelming movie, so we're just gonna get right into it. We'll go non spoilers first, and then we'll get right into it. Spoilers at the halfway point.
Yeah, so I mean, the movie, I think it's great.
Yeah,
It's a perfect send off
yeah,
to what we watched. It's
yeah. 11 years.
yeah,
11 years.
it's definitely surprising. You don't expect the things that happen to happen. Like in Infinity War, you pretty much know the snap's gonna happen, and you know there's gonna be a part two.
I mean, you could expect something. I
But
mean, there's still like you think about it. Like a year ago, would you have thought that they would have been that ballsy? Like even cause this newer one had way ballsier choices. But like then, like to wipe out, like especially fresh off of Black Panther and fresh off of Spider-Man: Homecoming and Spider-Man's appearance in Civil War, to just kill him off. Like with the snap in the
I
Infinity
mean, yeah,
War.
in Infinity War, you don't know who's gonna get snapped out of existence, but I'm saying you know the snap's gonna happen, and you kind of expect it to be the Phase Oneers who are gonna be the ones who get to stay in. So like
Yeah,
even
because you mean you want to be that, you want to have that core
yeah.
cast.
So
Like,
even when like Black Panther and Doctor Strange and Spider Man get snapped out, they weren't Phase Oneers, so
yeah.
it didn't matter as
So
much.
it's really, yeah, like more of a send off to these characters.
Yeah,
I mean, I felt that in the most part with this movie, that it was like very faithful to the characters, but it was also like it was kind of like the way that they solved everything. It wasn't like they hadn't come up with a solution themselves. Like without spoiling anything, like the way like it was a movie about them, but it was also like a movie at the end of the day, like it's still the culmination of multiple Marvel movies. So it's like Ant-Man had his piece, like Nebula had her piece.
yeah. I mean,
Like
they all did something, but
surprisingly, a lot of the movie focuses on Nebula. You
yeah.
know, like I mean, not a lot of it, but a good amount.
Yeah, I mean, she's the only one who would know anything about Thanos.
Yeah.
So it made sense. Like his day to day life, like they don't know where he would go. They don't know what he's doing. They don't know what he's up
What
to.
would you say the synopsis of the movie was,
Mm,
if you were to try to speak it without?
without
Yeah,
spoilers, I would definitely say it's a movie.
fresh off the snap.
Yeah, it's a fresh off the snap movie. It's a movie that legitimizes the Phase Oneers and
Yeah.
everything that we've seen them go
So
through.
Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Black Widow,
Yeah, it's
Hawkeye as well too.
yeah, it shows them doing it. It shows how they deal with the aftermath of the snap, how they're trying to fix everything
Move
and
on too a little bit.
move on,
Yeah.
and also how everyone's lives have been changed by it.
Yeah, I thought it was a very profound movie. That's why it's like, oh, you can kind of hear the soundness of my voice. Like I'm a little like still taken aback. Like I was cheering in the theater too, so I feel like I lost my voice a little bit.
Everyone was cheering.
Well, not everyone. Well, I mean, not you shouldn't cheer for every. Like I'm not gonna tell you when to not. Sorry, you guys are also having a few beers, but I wouldn't tell you. Like
There was
not to
definitely
not
there was
to-
too much cheering.
Yeah, it's
We
too
didn't
much,
need to
yeah.
cheer. We didn't need to cheer for the things that we already knew.
Yeah, I
were gonna
mean,
happen.
obviously we knew, Red Skull is from the last movie, so it's like it wasn't a surprise that Red Skull shows up again in this one. Well, I mean that's kind of spoilery, but anything
I mean, it's
else?
not a spoil.
No, I know. It's just I mean, I don't want to. If you want to go in fresh without
But
knowing
it's also
who
like
is in
we
it.
don't need to cheer. You don't need to cheer for every
Yeah.
single character.
I mean, some moments were well deserved, and we'll go
Yeah.
into them in spoilers.
Yeah, definitely. There's parts that I don't cheer at movies because I think it's pointless. But there's parts where I was kind of like, oh, I want to cheer here.
How do you look at the MCU now as a whole, even with the bad movies and the good movies? Like, how do you feel like it resolves?
I
You
think.
think if you look back at all of this, it's like, is it time wasted or is it?
I mean,
like, deserved?
there's definitely a lot of bad ones in the bunch, but I think as a whole,
Yeah.
it's great. It's I love it. I wouldn't say anything
Yeah.
bad about it. Like
I
there's
love this movie especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's definitely really 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 bad MCU movies, but as a whole, it's great. I love it.
Well, I mean, they kind of play in it too. Like Thor brings up the Dark World, and he kind of brings it up like, yeah, it's the bad one. Like,
Yeah, they got like
Like-
shit on it a little bit.
Like he said it in the movie too. Okay, so a little more few things. How about with what we saw in the trailer? You know, like you do feel like that's a great representation that everyone was saying that we only got what was in the beginning of the
I mean,
movie.
we really only did get the first 10, 20 minutes of the
Yeah.
movie up until they started.
Yeah, it started wrapping up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they started showing like, oh, if you were on YouTube and you were subscribed, you would see like angry Thanos, or if you did that, you would see like things. You would see things that happened later on in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the main trailers you watched on TV and everything were definitely completely spoiler free in the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie. So you had no idea. If you didn't watch anything on YouTube, you had no idea what was going to happen in that movie.
I mean, if you guys are just watching this part without trying to watch the spoilers, pretty good payoff. You're gonna get what you want out of this movie.
I definitely recommend.
I mean, I would say quell your expectations a little bit because I mean, you know, you're fresh off of basically. It's not gonna be like a rowdy movie, like especially after like a bunch of characters get killed in the last one. Because Infinity War is like one nonstop action fight scene is what I was telling to everybody we went to see the movie with. That it's like you kind of expect this one to be so.
I mean, I didn't really expect this one to be a big
I mean,
fight
I
scene.
didn't say that. I mean, I'm not saying everyone does, but I'm saying, you know, just I would say the best method before going into the theater is to just really quell your expectations.
I think, yeah, I mean, if you're going in there thinking you're going to watch fight scene, you're not. You're going to watch...
But the fight scenes we do get.
Yeah, they're great. What you're going in there to watch is a culmination of all the characters, a wrap-up of all the characters. Even the longer, drawn-out scenes, it's characters, what they used to be like as opposed to what they are now. It's showing how they've evolved throughout the whole thing. I think if it was all action, it wouldn't have been as impactful or as moving, basically, of a movie it was. So they couldn't just go straight to action.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, let's get right into spoilers.
Captain America.
Yeah, with the
wow.
Watch out, spoiler for you guys.
Spoiler.
Turn it off if you don't want to know anything. But
just hold on, 5 seconds. Well, let's see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Captain America with the hammer was the greatest thing ever, bro.
Mjolnir, fucking glorious return.
And it was so obvious that he's worthy. It's like you can't. The hammer. It's completely black and white. You can either move it or you can't. So the fact that he budged it in Ultron, it's like obviously he just didn't want to hurt Thor's
I feel like a
feelings.
lot of the stuff that I watched in Ultron paid because I watched Ultron again last night, and I feel like it was like the best movie to watch before all this because it was the introduction of the family, Hawkeye's family, but also like you're saying the nudging scene. I didn't even think that when I was watching this movie. Like, yeah, I watched the scene yesterday. It was hilarious, and like, I would say go back and watch Age of Ultron if you really want to see like the whole team just interacting and being like cool and comfortable with each other. That's a perfect movie to do that.
I definitely wouldn't recommend to go back.
Well, I mean, I'm
and watch
not
Age
saying,
of Ultron,
but I'm saying if you really want to the interaction with like the characters, because like this cast works really well together. Like it's really good, and like seeing the fact that the whole, especially because this movie goes out of its way to like really explain the rules of each character, like the whole worthy thing. Like when Thor goes into the
and Thor was happy for him too when he was
when he put his hand back out,
yeah,
when he was in Asgard and he in the past and the hammer came flying to him. I was like, damn, like, this is a movie that's playing by its rules.
Yeah, because he was doubting his worthiness, and that's why he was in that whole, like the whole pity him trip, the whole like self wallow, like that's why he was doing that because he didn't think he was worthy anymore.
Well, she gave him that speech, and you know that's enough to rile everybody. His mother.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the hammer is really what showed him that he still has it.
Dude, the double hammer Thor shit, bro. All the like. It's just, it seems like, because she hella destroys the hammer in Thor Ragnarok, right? And so it's like, you kind of feel like that's the end, but it's like, it's really like, it's a character in its own, too. Because, like, this, it's so, like, Captain America using the hammer in this movie is, like, it's so well-deserved, like, it's like, and it's so, like, it's executed so well, especially because, like, if you go back to Infinity War, like, when they're fighting Thanos, like, no, Captain America, he kind of slides in and he hits him with the Wakandan shields that he's got on his hands. And he's like, he's trying to do some damage. He's trying to go for the legs, but it's not really working for him. Whereas this one, he's like, he's comboing the hammer with the... He did it not even just once. He did it a whole bunch of times where he's comboing the hammer and the shield.
He did like an electricity whip with it.
Yeah, he did the... Awesome. Well, he threw the shield at him, and then he threw the hammer at the shield in the air, and it did that supersonic burst.
Well, then the shield, it reflected the shield back to Thanos, and then he called the hammer back to himself. It was amazing. It was amazing. And then now Thor's...
Bro, there were so many of those, like, because nowadays, you know, there's so many movies that, like, nowadays you're kind of burnt out, like, you've seen it and done that, you know. I feel like I hadn't, like I have seen, but it's just like, it's the scale is so much bigger. Like this time around.
And then Thor being a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, which
At
makes
the end, yeah.
which makes complete sense.
Yeah, since we're doing spoilers, let's kind of backtrack from the beginning. So let's.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
because
it's like it makes sense because like Chris Hemsworth, he's young.
So you feel like that's gonna be the next Guardians? Because I mean,
Yeah.
now that they're bringing back James Gunn, you can make a. Because like I'm pretty sure James Gunn didn't have Thor worked into his Guardians, but now that he's got time, he can rework him. So it's like because Thor made it seem like he was going to a place to go like chill, like
to find himself.
That's what it seemed like, but he was like going with the Guardians. I hope we don't get Fat Thor again. Honestly, that's the one big glaring. It's still going.
Yeah.
Like the Fat Thor.
Thor's definitely gonna get back in shape.
Yeah, you think so? Well, I mean, because that was obviously a prosthetic.
Yeah.
Like it was super glaring.
Yeah.
I can understand why they did it, but like because they really wanted to like it's something you do in a comic. Like imagine like the comic was the same kind of art as the Gorillas. Like you know, like that style, like that's whereas you see the Avengers team is all crisp and clean in Infinity War, and then Endgame you have like the more scruffied out like characters, like it seemed like something that like it would really work in the comics, but like here it's kind of like super glaring, like and I don't understand why you, like anybody who's basically because Thor was like. I mean, you're talking about as soon as Thor in Infinity War came out last year, he was like instantly elevated to like prime, bro. Like the top of the line, like strongest superhero, like coolest looking fucking suit, the sixth Stormbreaker, everything. Like I understand why you gotta demasculate him, especially with the way that they just went in there, whipped and killed Thanos at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he did just cut his arm off and then his head off. But that was a completely weakened Thanos, so. I'm also glad that they didn't shoehorn in Captain Marvel too much.
Yeah,
because I didn't want to.
It's like you said. What did you say about Captain Marvel? That they filmed scenes.
I heard that they filmed.
That's what it really looks like. It.
Yeah, I heard that they filmed a lot of scenes with her, and then I heard they filmed scenes where she had reduced roles just to see.
Well, that's what this movie looked like. It was a lot of that. Like there were different endings. 'Cause even when we were leaving the theater, I was hearing somebody like in front of us talking like, "Hey, they're." Yeah, if you want to see all of the endings, get the DVD or something like that.
Yeah.
Like there were, I think,
alternate. Yeah, because she kind of just appeared out of nowhere.
But it's like, how alternate ending could you really make it, especially with that war fight scene?
Yeah, I mean, the ending's the ending, but it's just like she just appeared out of nowhere. But the thing was, I didn't want to watch her come in there and
well, she did
beat up, and I know, but I didn't want to watch her come in there and just be the Captain Marvel show where she just beats up Thanos and it's just easy, you know.
Well, this is also a much different Thanos, so it's like she wouldn't have beat that Thanos, and because even Iron Man was like he's unbeatable. Yeah. Like with him in the gauntlet, like he was like, yeah, this is scary. Like whereas this one, it was just him and some crazy spinny sword. Like,
yeah, he's still whooping with that sword.
Whooping with that sword. Yeah. And when he first walks in with that sword, you first see him in the 2014. He's bloodstained. Yeah. Like, and he's got like blackish blood on him.
He just got off of slaughtering a whole.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't have the stones yet, so I'm just slaughtering people.
Yeah, because he's that Mad Titan, like 2014 Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm gonna bathe your blood. Yeah. It's funny that everybody was talking about how the movie was hinting that there was gonna be like a greater threat, and the greater threat ended up just being
a younger,
more brutal Thanos. I mean, I wouldn't say more brutal.
He was definitely more brutal.
Well, because I mean, especially that last one. He was gardening, you know. Yeah. Like after two snaps.
He just went out to do his own thing. But that's what I'm saying. He was definitely a more brutal Thanos in this movie. Way more brutal. Yeah.
Well, honestly, like when you look at, we were talking about this in the drive. When you look at the fighting styles of how especially how he's presented in Infinity War, he's presented in a very like eloquent, like kind of like a Muhammad Ali, like a feather sting like a bee, like he's very
all of his
royalty.
Well, it's like all of his in Infinity War, all of his fight moves led to something that would give him the advantage.
This is like
and this
scrappy.
One, and this one he's just beating them relentlessly.
Well, he's getting beat too. Yeah. Well, even especially before it turns into like a crazy hero fest, like. Oh, he's right there when he's fighting, especially when he's fighting Captain America. Because I just watched it again a little bit too, and he's fighting him with the hammer. Like Captain America's dropping super electric attacks on him, and he's like he dropped. He did the one where he puts his hand in the sky and he calls lightning down.
Yeah.
And it hit him a little bit, but he scrapped out of it. Like he squirmed out of it. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like his moves were way like I'm not saying he's not as eloquent, but like right here he's really like on the line. Like this is like, like. Because I told people, I saw Infinity War and I saw the way he sat down at the end, like that Thanos was done,
Yeah,
like,
he was.
and even in this one, his arm was chiseled and you could tell that he was also like taking it back from the.
He's
the
also
stab.
in this one. He's also a lot more crazy because he knows he's gonna die and he just doesn't care.
Well, you're talking about the beginning, Thanos?
No, I'm talking about Thanos that saw how he did.
Oh
he
yeah,
completed his plan,
yeah.
And he knew that his plan led to his.
Yeah, that's
death,
crazy
but
too
he
because
didn't
it's
care.
like. Because I was trying to think is like, how are you going to get Thanos back into the game, honestly? Like, and honestly, to have it be the 2014 Thanos, like, just to, I mean, not saying that there's really two difference, but just how, not saying it's glaring, but it's such an ultimate move. Because like what you're saying right now, like he saw that he was going to die.
Yeah, he knew it, and he just didn't care. Because even not Nebula, Gamora was like, "You're gonna die," and he was like, "That's destiny."
Yeah.
And then when he got beheaded in it, he's like, "That's destiny completed." Like, he didn't care.
Well, he did care. You could tell, like, because he brought, I mean, honestly, they've never brought a decimation force like that. That was, like, a true decimation force.
Well,
like,
that's because he knew where all the stones were now. So you have to bring your whole force. Yeah. So you have to bring the whole force. Because if he knows where the stones are, he has no reason to spread out his army like he was doing before. Like, now he's just like, all right, I'm going to bring it all. Like the ending Wakanda scene, he brought all of them in. He brought the whole force to fight them, so he could get that.
No, he didn't bring that force. This he brought whales.
Well, he didn't have those anymore.
The Leviathans.
Yeah, I don't think.
Because you're saying they got wiped out in Avengers.
Yeah, once he blew them all up. Once Tony threw the nuke up there.
Yeah, but that's 2014. He's coming from.
I know, but
I mean, we just probably didn't see everything he had.
Yeah, but it's like because in the other one, like. When he knew where the Mind Stone was, and he had all the other stones, he sent his whole army after Wakanda, and just totally beat up Wakanda bad. So in this one, he's like, okay, all the stones are in one place, send everyone. But it was so good. Definitely recommend it. It's a perfect send off to Captain America. Perfect.
Especially, yeah.
Like he got to live his life. He got to be a superhero. He got to come back and pass off his mantle.
What did you feel about all those the callbacks like to the like especially
when he's like I love it when he's like I can do this all day and he's like yeah I know, yeah, I know. He's like oh my god when Tony Stark's like all right are we gonna stand here and pose all day?
We're gonna strike poses. That was so good because it's like exactly what you think it's like because the editing in Avengers is like they're all standing there looking at
yeah
like they're puffing their chests out looking at Loki's like. Yeah, I'll have that drink now. And then it's like we get the direct follow-ups to those scenes. Especially the interaction, too, with, they brought back Pierce from Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I love how Cap, you thought he was going to have the same fight scene with them in the elevator again.
Oh, it was awesome.
And then they totally did the Hell Hydra, but they didn't do it horribly in the comics where he's a bad Cap. They just did it to trick him, so you're totally cool with it. Because in the comics when they did it, it's horrible. You don't have a Hell Hydra Captain America.
We were laughing so bad at that scene. Yeah. That's like I think one of the best because especially they brought back every single actor who was in that elevator. So you have Crossbones, you had the guy from he was in 300 and he's in
he's in Batman versus Superman.
He's KG Beast.
Yeah,
that's crazy he came back. But yeah, so they had like it's basically that same scene like he got into the elevator and he stood in the middle. And then, like, it seemed like he was, like, about to go, and he was like, I know how this is going to go down.
They, like, grabbed their guns. They were really selling it like it was going to be that fight scene.
Yeah, it was the same exact cuts, too. It was, like, the guy untouched the thing.
Yeah, it was exactly
It's crazy because the same directors, the Russos, did that scene, too, because that was their first movie, was Captain America Winter Soldier.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, that was their first movie on this, and so this is their last one, so it's kind of like a full circle. Surprisingly, no Samuel L. Jackson until the end.
Until way end. Well, that's because nobody got snapped back until the end.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what was he going to do? Come out of the...
What, shooting his pistols?
Yeah. I mean, that's also the same thing, too, why Black Widow wasn't really there at the end, too. She couldn't be in that scene. Like...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Hawkeye wasn't really even doing anything in that scene. He just got...
You're talking about the the full attack scene.
Yeah,
it's like everybody
the
was
ending war scene, because even Hawkeye didn't do anything.
No, but like that one scene when it first started, like like all the armies hit together, and it was like that crazy pan where you saw every character like in and out.
And then R.I.P. to our boy Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He had to give his life. You know, everyone thought it was going to be Cap, and I kind of thought it would be Cap too, with Cap sacrificed.
I kept waiting for somebody to dive in front of like a sword, like that kind of, especially when they went to go fight Thanos in that fight scene, the 3-on-1, like that fight scene was awesome, like especially the way it started off, like they all three of them like. Captain America rushed in from the left, Iron Man or Thor was from the right, and Iron Man went straight, and it was like a cool scene. They all were like fighting.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like that scene.
And he just kicked them all off too.
In Civil War, yeah, it was like that scene in Civil War where it's like they, like when Iron Man starts to fight, Iron Man fights Bucky and Captain America.
Yeah.
Like it was that scene for them and them, and I felt like that was. Like it's like like if only Hulk was there in that scene right there, it would have been like that perfect.
Yeah, Hulk didn't do anything.
Well, not anything in the fight. But,
yeah, he didn't do anything in the fight.
Well, I mean, he held up the. I just think there's.
I love that because he's Professor Hulk now. So when he's like, "Okay, you need to go smash some things," he's like, and like barely.
I really, because my brother was saying that he wouldn't really like the way the Hulk's, because I mean, it's if you look at it, it is a character arc. And if you look at the characters that most change, because Iron Man's kind of a constant, even though he obviously gets older and gets more wiser, and like you can tell he's still like he's not as hot blooded as he was in the first movie. Like it's obviously a much more timid Iron Man. But,
just much more mature.
But I'm saying like Hulk, literally, if you look at it from all these movies, he goes through a character arc and he changes.
Yeah.
So the first Incredible Hulk, which is kind of a pseudo sequel to 2003's The Hulk. Like it picks up in the same where it ends.
That's so weird that they did that.
Well, I mean,
it's basically a sequel, but it's
they didn't
want
to confuse the audience, because it's also Universal, so they're making the sequel. It's like it's the same thing with that Ghost Rider sequel with Nicolas Cage. They're not the same. They're not a sequel. They're not the same movie, but it's the same Ghost Rider. It's technically not a sequel.
I don't think I've seen Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
The first one's kind of bad.
The first one's really bad.
Well, it came out at a time when there wasn't really a lot of this stuff. So
but it's really bad. Like everything about it's bad.
But the Spirit of Vengeance, I've heard is pretty, people tend to like that movie a lot.
I just know there's that one scene where he fights all of them in the
the driving scene.
No, when he fights them all in the dump. And
that's at the end. Yeah, and he turns the Ghost Rider to the tractor, the giant tractor.
He just beats everyone up and throws the missiles back. But wow.
There's no ending credit scene to Avengers. No setup. Yeah. I mean setup. There, we do get our.
But there shouldn't have been. Rightfully, there shouldn't have been, because I don't need to. After what we just saw, I don't need them trying to set up another movie. Like let me know that everything I just watched is ended. Now you're gonna restart.
It's a payoff.
And I love the activate instant kill mode with Spider-Man.
Oh, dude, so sick. Especially, that's what I'm saying. Like, this movie really pays off a lot of stuff. Like, you don't expect it to.
There's a lot of callbacks.
Like, because he calls it out, like, right away. Like, it's so. Like, it's something you don't expect. It's one of those, like, these movies, they're really. That's why it's really good that you don't spoil these movies ahead of time, because you don't really want to know these things. Honestly, I was spoiled on The Hammer, even though it still felt. I was spoiled on the Hulk holding the glove.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was spoiled on was Hulk holding the glove, because I accidentally read it.
Some asshole was on the computer spoiling it for everybody.
Yeah.
The one thing that I didn't like, well, I'm not saying I didn't like, but the whole, once everybody starts coming back to life, Iron Man approaches Doctor Strange and he tells him, hey, what happened to 1 in 1 million?
Yeah, 1 in 14 million.
1 in 14 million. And he tells him, if I tell you, it won't happen that way. But he kind of, he doesn't, Doctor Strange isn't, especially because they were saying, there was this whole interview saying that apparently Tom Holland had spoiled some things about Doctor Strange, talking about the quantum realm or whatever, but there was none of that in this.
There wasn't, you know what? And then people even said Samuel Jackson spoiled some, because he said that Captain Marvel can go back in time, and she didn't do any of that.
Really? He said that?
Yeah, he said that in an interview, but that never happened.
She can go so fast she can go back in time.
They didn't explain how. But they didn't explain it. But that's what I heard him. That's what I've heard from him, and that's what he did that in an interview. But that didn't happen. But it's good that happened.
Yeah, but so basically,
he probably got one of those fake scripts and was like, "Oh, I spoiled something," and they're like, "They didn't spoil anything."
Well, because they made it seem like even when they showed the ancient one, that the revelation of what Doctor Strange had done was going to be super profound. So that means Doctor Strange was just like, yeah. So that's gonna be 5 years.
Yeah,
Like,
that's also why Doctor Strange said
5 years.
Tony's the key or something like that.
Yeah, that's
like,
what. Well, do you think that's what he said?
Well, didn't he say something like that? He's like,
Well, he made sure he lived in the last one. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I'll give it to you, just don't kill him. So he kind of made it seem that he was like,
He
he didn't really say Tony's the key. Like, they're not gonna say a dumb line like,
it wasn't something like I haven't.
not gonna be ham-fisted like Transformers 2 when
I
the guys
know.
come out of the rock and they're all like, Shia LaBeouf, you are the master or whatever. You for some reason you're the main character. But yeah, so Iron Man, he sacrifices himself at the end, and with a beautiful line right there, where he's holding the Infinity Gauntlet, and the stones integrate perfectly into his hand.
Yeah.
And he sits there, and he's like, he takes a breath, and he's like, I am Iron Man. Like,
When he did that whole I am and there was a long pause between the am and Iron Man,
yeah.
I thought he was gonna I thought it was like gonna be a joke scene where he didn't know what to say, but then he said Iron Man.
Yeah, because he did have a pause. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's because he knew, he's like, fuck, as soon as I say this is basically it for me.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad too. Like, you expect Pepper to be like much more like blown away, like sick. The rescue in Pepper and Iron Man.
Yeah, when he died and then Tom Holland came talking to him, I was like, bro, let
Pepper, yeah.
Let Pepper come in there. Let her mourn.
Yeah, well, because he wasn't really saying anything to him. He was burnt up, right? He didn't say anything when he was sitting down. Because she told him, she was like, it was so beautiful. She was like, you can rest now. So it's like, it's kind of like, because that's basically been his whole arc since Avengers 1, is he's been like post-traumatic stress, like trying to prepare and make sure everyone's okay. And
they'll eventually bring him back.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, he's too.
It's a movie, right? It's movie universe where these rules.
Iron Man's too profound.
I just feel like that, because the Infinity Stones are still there, right? They still exist, or maybe now because they don't. No, I think they're gone, right? Because Thanos snapped them.
Well, you know what I thought too when he said that they're microscopic is what he said. So I thought that they were gonna have.
Bro, that scene when they did like I was talking about earlier, when the Sanctuary 2 came out of the quantum realm, the way they did it.
Yeah.
Like when she opened it up for it started off small and it was coming up, and then it came up behind it all crazy, like the way that it looked like when it popped out of the quantum realm when when Thanos' ship first came up at the end.
Oh yeah, that
was super
crazy.
cool. Like that movie was whole cool looking. That ending war fight scene was so good.
Yeah, it was.
Just the way that they've never done anything like that. They've not to that they have.
Well,
done
every
Avengers
movie ends with a fight scene like that, but like this one was just so much more epic in scale.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying
this one was also so much more well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved. I think that's what the main thing about it, especially how tight it wasn't spread out over the city where it's like one Avengers in the scene. It's like there's so much stuff going on. So that's why I'm saying, like, you're saying Hulk doesn't do anything, but it's like, because I mean the camera obviously keeps your focus on the main character in the one scene, but everybody's fighting in the background. Yeah. So it's like, I'm sure this is the kind of movie like, whereas like it's like if Ready Player One was a good movie, we'd be doing this. We'd be going back and trying to watch everyone's main fight scenes and that. Yeah. But it's like, that's what I'm sure. It's like if we slow it down, like, because there's a lot of stuff going down. Like they all like. Drax was stabbing the Black Order from the back, and then all of a sudden he got stepped on.
Ant-Man stepped on him.
Like, just because there's so much stuff going on in the fight.
Yeah, and when Ant-Man stepped on him too, it's like it didn't even seem like he realized.
War Machine's cool, black and orange and red. Yeah. Like ending War Machine suit was so cool looking, like. Because his suit got all destroyed, and then he pulled out some other suit out of nowhere, like...
Yeah, it did get destroyed.
Yeah, so he pulled out another suit. That's why he had that cool-looking suit at the end.
Yeah, because it got completely destroyed. Even when it got destroyed, though, I was like, how did your suit get destroyed?
You think Loki's alive?
I don't know. I think he is.
Yeah, because he kind of dipped out with the Tesseract.
Yeah.
So he could have put some distance, at least within himself. But it seems like the things that they changed in the past still stayed the way that they were. Well, she killed herself. Nebula killed herself. Yeah. She killed the 2014 version of Nebula.
And it's like, that Nebula, didn't Nebula always hate Thanos though? Like even in the 2014 movie, she didn't really like him.
Well, the Guardians of the Galaxy has like that arc with her and her sister. Like they kind of like bond a little bit. Yeah. And there's also Infinity War, like especially the whole, once Nebula started to realize that it's like you're basically dealing with a madman. That's why it's like I like these two movies because. Like, the last Thanos was someone you can sympathize. It's like the sympathetic villain is what people call him. Like, this time around, it's like straight up the mad Titan Thanos. Yeah. Like, he he's essentially the same Thanos, and he could still spout out the same speeches, like, and obviously, but his were like a little more unhinged. And I'm not saying that it's a different person, but it's just like his motivations were way crazier. He was coming for blood.
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
Yeah,
Honestly,
definitely.
like such just like I mean, obviously it drags a little bit, but it has to be like.
I mean,
you
yeah,
know,
there's definitely parts where, like, even the part when it said 5 years later.
beautiful ending though. The way that
Yeah.
it ends with Captain America and Peggy.
Yeah.
Like after the passing of the torch, be what that is. Obviously, we're gonna talk about this more. This is just our fresh thoughts. This is a fresh discussion right off the movie.
Yeah,
so.
maybe we'll watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it again. I'll see how it goes. Like I'm gonna like sit on it and feel it out. And then, we can come back and reassess maybe like in a week, once we figure out what all this means and where it's
definitely.
going. And what do you think of that possible Silver Samurai at the end?
In the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what that was.
That would be
I think
cool.
they said the name of the guy who was supposed to be too. They were looking for.
They did. It's
But
something with an H.
why
I
would
think,
you
or
bring the
something.
same guy with the same signature weapon?
Yeah.
I was hoping that's maybe they were just trying to clarify. Maybe we can use this. This is as much as we can use.
Yeah.
But even though they do own X-Men, and I'm excited to see what they do in the future. Like obviously this part of the MCU is over,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like I'm not saying it sucks to see it go, but it's a well-deserved send-off.
It definitely was.
So
Every character from
I mean, I'm excited to see what they do.
every character from Phase 1,
Yeah.
besides Thor, had their send off where it's just their story is done.
I mean, I'm sure they'll be back
But
in some
I
shape.
think they will too eventually.
Captain
But like
America,
no, they definitely will. But I'm just saying they all had their send off, and it just makes sense that Thor doesn't because Chris Hemsworth's so young.
Yeah,
So
they're
why would
all
he want?
young.
Why would he want? Robert Downey Jr. is
Oh,
not
yeah,
young,
yeah, I'm saying,
and Chris
yeah.
Evans getting up there in age now. So it's like, but Chris Hemsworth's not. So why would he want to end that
Tap
that
out,
gravy
yeah.
chain?
Especially because people love him in this role. Like,
Yeah.
people, especially I like that ending too, that they had all the main six having their signatures shown.
Yeah, that
in the
was
visual.
cool.
But all right then, you guys.
All right.
Thank you for sticking around for our Avengers discussion. I'm sure we're gonna, like I said, talk about this more often.
Yeah.
More so now that we've seen it, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of discussion.
Yeah,
between
they're definitely be. We'll talk about it some more. This is just our fresh thoughts, fresh takes. No time to really think about the movie.
Really
just,
funny movie.
Yeah, just watched it, came here and talked about it. So once we kind of
like fan service the movie.
yeah, it was. It really was.
All right, well, you know where to reach us. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.